Bring in Tennessee Congresswoman Marsha Blackburn right now. Congresswoman, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
You too. Sure.
So what do you make of the developments so far? Characterize for us, if you will, this cabinet taking shape. And then I also want to get your take on who might head the VA.
Yes, so what you're seeing in the cabinet is people who know how to get things done. They are individuals who have focused on accomplishment. They are really focused on doing what they can do to right-size the government. You know, we don't have people who focus on reducing the size, the cost, and the scope of the federal government generally in cabinets. And this is going to be a very different cabinet. That is going to be their focus. And I think you're going to see a much more effective federal government with the delivery of services in the appropriate manner, utilization of technology as it ought to be utilized, and kind of get some of this under control, get the growth of government under control.
Ms. Blackburn, it's Mike Murphy. Looking at the VA in particular, I know that that's one post that getting a lot of talk. A lot of qualified people there, but I had the pleasure of being introduced to Senator Scott Brown years ago and gotten to know him really well. And I just think from me, there's no one out there who would do a better job. He's qualified. He's great. I wonder if you could speak. Don't expect you to pick sides, but I think Scott would be phenomenal for the position.
Yeah, Mike, you know, one of the things we have to look at is the Veterans Administration encompasses all of the activity around our veterans. We primarily think of it in terms of health care. And yes, running those VA health services, you've got to have someone there who is going to know how to deliver health care. The VA wastes a lot of money. They have health care labor issues, and you need individuals who understand health care labor and procurement to go in and restructure that component. Now with VA services writ large, you need the ability to allow those veterans into the private sector marketplace by using their VA card and then charging those services back to the Veterans Administration. We have, working in this compendium of services, things such as jobs assistance and educational assistance, education loans, you know, different things, the Pell Grant series that can help our veterans as they transition out. And then as they step back and help mentor and care for some of these families of active duty and military. So we want that process to become seamless. We want it to become productive and be there consistently for those veterans who have served our nation so well.
Representative Blackburn, it's Tony Safe. Thank you for being with us.
Yeah.
I think you characterized very well the fact that Donald Trump has picked a cabinet of doers, people who've accomplished something.
Yes.
I cited this statistic before. They have a cumulative 6.9% average in the years in government service versus 17 years of government service of average for Obama appointees, which I think is really the wrong direction. The American people clearly want disruption. They want to drain the swamp.
That's right.
They want something new. How, though, does that agenda with a lot of private sector people, people who've worked largely perhaps in the military, get translated through actual government process and reform? How do you envision this working, for example, through congressional action coordinating with the White House on their agenda?
Yeah, and Tony, that's the right question to ask. People want government to run in a more business-like manner. Now, when I was a freshman, we made waste, fraud, and abuse in fighting that our class project. What we never really had was one person, an innovation officer that was in charge of coordinating the executive branch with the legislative branch. And that is, you got to have it somebody's job in order to get government innovation and government reform work done. Because every single program goes out across, it kind of spreads across several different agencies. You have to pull all of it plus the funding streams out in order to actually get rid of it and right size or go through merging and consolidation of different government programs. I think what you're going to see is the committee chairs of the House and the Senate standing committees like my committee, Energy and Commerce, when it comes to health care, when it comes to technology policy, when it comes to energy policy, working with those cabinet secretaries and with the administration to say, let's pull these programs out and let's make this work.
Congresswoman, what can your committee do in the face of what President Obama is trying to do right now? Basically say, this is all off limits in terms of drilling in the Arctic, drilling in the Atlantic Ocean. He's basically taking a stand here in these final weeks in office to stop what the incoming administration is doing. What can your committee do?
What we can do is go back in and recall under the Congressional Review Act these last-minute rules that he is doing. So we can pull those back. Legislatively, we can go in and in statute put in place some provisions that will address the items that he is trying to eliminate, the things that he is trying to take offline, if you will. When it comes to the problems that we have had with Keystone Pipeline or the war on coal that he has exercised, or the Outer Continental Shelf drilling, or what he tries to do with Arctic lands or federal lands, we will be able to go in and legislatively put in place some components that will allow greater utilization of our national resources, and then also to focus on an all-of-the-above energy policy that will help us be energy independent, that will spur innovation through the private sector, and shift that focus so that we do put that attention on all of the above.
All right. We'll be watching the developments, Congresswoman. Good to see you as always. Thanks so much.
Good to see you. Merry Christmas.
And to you. Merry Christmas, Congresswoman Marsha Blackburn there. We'll take